trading in any form that is presented can be risky. You have the potential to make a lot of money, but also in the same way and even more with binary options of losing it all. When you invest in trading, although you always aim to win, you must be clear that there is a level of risk. Know the risks of binary options. There are many things that you need to keep in mind before you start trading. As a result of this, one of the main considerations of the risks of binary options to reward the profit ratio. Ideally, you want to have as much reward as possible with as little risk as possible. Finding a good balance here will be the key to your success, and binary options can help you big while you're on the lookout for this balance. First, understand that there are dangers when operating with binary options, and look even before you start the obstacles you face and possible losses. So you should always have a plan B and adhere to the type of investment that can protect your capital more. So leave a base and never invest everything. This supports a possible loss. If finances are tight or you can't afford to lose this money, you should avoid investing. Losing money from the mortgage can have serious consequences that you obviously want to avoid. Avoid risks of binary options. You must have enough in your investment to justify the trade with the amounts you want for this and be able to withstand the risks you face. If you are not a broker, it is best that you get an expert to advise you at least on the amount you should invest to get started. Many brokers allow you to open an account with a significant amount of money, but the risk of ruin will be very high at this level. Another aspect that you have to consider is your ultimate goal. If you want to make a living out of trading or just want to start increasing your capital. As it is already clear that binary options are risky now, what you have to do before going away is to avoid and get ready for these. Another recommendation is to evaluate your level of knowledge. There is no cut here, but one thing to keep in mind is that the less experience and knowledge the markets have, the lower your trade rate will be. If you're just starting out, you'll have to risk as little as possible in order to minimize the losses you'll face. There's a learning curve here, so you want to be careful. Use a demo account to avoid risks in binary options. A good strategy is to use a demo account for as long as possible. This will help you learn about these moves a bit and reduce the amount of rookie mistakes you will inevitably make. The demo trade lets you figure out how to use the platform and gives you an introduction to what you see in real-time trading. This is a very valuable tool for both experienced traders and beginners alike. Minimizing the risks of binary options can also be achieved by diversifying operations. This is key if you want to live from binary options. Cheats for binary options. Although some of the main elements when investing in binary options are represented by having a great intuition, know the market, take the risk and have a little fortune, those who already have experience with them know that this is not the only thing that matters. Specialists in binary options take into account the existence of small tricks for binary options advisable when launching squarely to the pool with less risk. Then we share with you some of these tricks so you can live from binary options without fear of losing a single penny. The best tricks and secrets to make money with binary options. Watch and compare. While it may be obvious, there are times when we cannot contain ourselves as we see a graph tend to rise. That is enough to give us confidence to believe that it will continue to increase, but what if the opposite happens? It is necessary that we observe several graphs, study them and value them before deciding if that investment is viable or if it can make us lose all the money that we put in game. Knowing the precedents can help us predict what will happen in the future. Set limits. Binary options are governed by all or nothing in a mandatory way, but we have to be governed by the less is more. When we are sure of our investment and we put our hand in the fire thinking that our forecast is going to be the right one, it is inevitable for the confidence that we feel to put a lot of money into play. But what if it does not go well? It is important to value and observe the framework that we move and decide if we assume a great risk that can lead to make us lose a large sum of money, or if we prefer to be like an ant that goes little by little. For many specialists it is much safer and advisable to go slowly and take small risks, in the end up gaining much more. Learn to say enough. When we see that our investment grows frenetically by making gains from binary options, we may experience an excess of confidence that will lead us to continue investing, sometimes without such clear visions of results. In order not to risk losing money, it is essential to know how to stop at the most opportune moment and, as in the previous point, not to be extremely ambitious. This aspect is completely related to the psychological traits that a good trader has to have: discipline and control over emotions. Constancy. There are many people who experiment with binary options out of curiosity or because they are an easy way to get extra money. But to understand the art of binary options, you need months of hard work, effort, and create your own strategy. It is almost impossible to find a trader that does not have its own strategies, which it has been creating along its path based on losing, winning, experimenting, and practicing. That is why it is vital to be constant, disciplined, and experimenting until you find the strategy that best suits our needs or our way of investing. The final trick. We should never invest by investing. Playing with luck in binary options or in any type of similar business is synonymous with guaranteed losses. Articles of interest. Winning investment strategies. What are the binary options? Buy and sell stock exchange. At this point, it is common knowledge to know that there is no trick to know in what moment to buy and sell stocks, and much less there is a strategy to get always victorious at our risk. Even so, this year 2015 has begun with a big change. A tax reform that lowered capital gains taxes. This has made the famous 2-month rule go away, and, of course, many financial specialists would stop to think whether it was feasible to sell or better to wait. In the second quarter of 2015, the stock market has surprised us with a change of course for various reasons that has made us seriously think about what framework we want to move, how much we are willing to invest, and especially what stocks to buy on the stock market and the best time in which to invest right now. One of the most significant changes recently experienced is the relevance of the European exchange, which is expected to improve in the following months. The reason the financial sector is so overt with Europe is that the Wall Street stock market has recovered completely, now having higher values than before the crisis, and its trend has risen so much that now registers historical highs. These trends, added to the fact that the euro has fallen, make the European Stock Exchange a great option to take into account when buying and selling stocks over the remainder of 2015. It's time to buy stock. Despite positive forecasts, the Spanish stock market has declined in the last quarter. But, although its values seem to continue to fall, it has risen 6% compared to the results of a year ago. This makes it a good time to value the stocks of large companies that are now on the rise, such as Repsol or Gamesa, who have had a strong presence. When assessing how to buy shares in the stock market this year 2015, we have to look at the companies where your beta is above 1, being a good option to take into account, since the values move more up or down. Therefore, it is more than advisable to take into account large companies with a lot of relevance and presence in the stock market, which demonstrate that they have high expectations of growth in Spain. Some of these companies are Banco Sabadell, Liberbank, or MAPFRE. Articles of interest. Binary options errors. By all is known that the binary options are not infallible and that they have a high risk. Even so, we also know that with patience and experience we can understand its tendency and nature to have the best keys when it comes to acting. It is a practice that needs to pay close attention to each of the decisions made. And as experienced as we may be, we may make mistakes that lead us to reap losses or reduced profit margins. So that you are aware of what you do not have to do. Next, we will mention the 5 errors in binary options that are most often committed. If we want to live on binary options, the less we make them, the more successful we will have. Do not make these mistakes in binary options. 1. Not having a clear strategy. To act by impulsivity or intuition is, even if we do not create it, a mistake that many traders still make. When we take our first steps, acting suprimary can give us some joy, but if we want to get far in the world of binary options, it is inevitable to look for alternatives. We must learn, meditate, and create a strategy. It seeks to achieve its own strategy that ensures at least 80% effectiveness, being this personal and non-transferable in most cases, as it will adapt to our way of acting and invest. 2. Do not be constant. This point is closely related to the previous one. Once you are experimenting and you find a possible strategy for investing, it is vital to put it into practice over a period of time. This implies that we have to be constant, methodical and self-critical in order to see if our strategy generates all the benefits we expected, or if in the event of losses it is better to discard it and look for a new one. 3. Letting go of emotions. When we fail in an investment and lose money, it is usual to feel anger, frustration and anger, but it is not the right thing to do. If we allow these emotions to invade us and influence our way of investing, we will become more defensive or more aggressive than we should be. At this time it is advisable to take a deep breath, relax, clear the mind and meditate on what happened. By understanding what has happened and facing the next investment calmly, it will be much easier to overcome the previous loss. 4. Do not manage money well. The more you invest, the faster you'll get benefits if you're skilled. There is nothing simpler than that. But what if it goes wrong and you lose everything invested? It is very important to know exactly how much money we have and especially how much money we are willing to put into play. Many professionals in the sector are in favor of going slowly but at a good pace, investing small amounts, never more than 3% of available capital. This makes the repercussion in case of losing not be so serious. It is good to be ambitious but not to excess. 5. Disregard of economic calendars. Although it seems incredible because of the obviousness it supposes, this is one of the most common mistakes when operating with binary options. Not only is it important to observe and compare the way in which the actions of the company for which we want to invest act, but also that we have to have a global vision of the market. This allows us to see changes, no matter how small, minute by minute, since the minimum market change can have a negative impact on the actions we plan to invest in. The biggest mistake in binary options. The biggest mistake made by novice investors is to run risky without diversifying, and capital management is just as important as the decisions you make when executing orders. Take good care of your capital and try to keep it to enjoy profitable investments over time. Related posts. To make investments in binary options, we need to do it through intermediary platforms that are in charge of managing our operations and the ones that will ultimately pay us if we are right with our transactions. There are many types of companies that engage in this, but not all are the same. For this I created this article where I will detail some aspects to take into account and examples of brokers to always choose the best brokers of binary options. Things to keep in mind when choosing a binary stockbroker. Those that have been included in this list are within the ranking of brokers of binary options and proves valued within the market. Each of them is duly authorized to operate, providing the most excellent and necessary investment options, along with 24/7 customer service. By choosing any of the trading platforms that will be discussed a little later, you can be sure that your money will be well and that you can maximize your potential to obtain satisfactory benefits. Are sustainable not only for you but for the trading company as well. With this, it ensures that your investments will continue on track now and in the long term. You should never settle for mediocre earnings when investing in binary options trading. You have to know how to choose the right brokers of the most outstanding and best positioned binary options in the market, because greater benefits will facilitate. Having a platform that has a good track record in operating standards and delivering the benefits you deserve is the best advice you can follow. So if you are interested in investing in binary trading, then pay attention. What are the best binary investment brokers? As we have already mentioned, there are different alternatives of choice when we are going to register on a binary stock platform. To make it easy, I have done a mini comparative of the brokers of binary options that are better responding to today. List of binary stock brokers. At the end of 2014 has appeared a new trading system that involves the use of software or a bot that is in charge of performing operations. These commercial robots are integrated with binary option signals that buy and sell instantly without human participation. The advantages are obvious. Any beginner can simply put it on autopilot and the robot, thanks to the signals it receives, will perform the relevant operations. Below we will review one by one the main brokers that allow this type of automatic operations and in which you can rely to obtain good results in binary investments. Choosing one or the other will depend on the features that you provide and what your user interface convinces you, something that comes to be very relevant when working in this financial sector. Among these binary stock brokers we can find Topoption, 24 Option, Empire Option, Any Option, Stock Pair, Topoption. The support provided by Topoption to its customers and the ease of use of its interface have helped this company to rank among the best binary options brokers. They make a payment rate that can reach some of the cases up to 500%, although these types of situations are too specific to have the chance to lead them. What you need to know is that the usual average rate is 85%, which is fine considering what other similar options provide. Most notable advantages. One of its advantages is that opening an account makes the investor very easy, even the one that is starting. It's easy to see how many brokers take advantage of customers' need to find good support that end up making higher initial investors than they can afford. But in the case of Topoption, the broker only asks for a minimum of $100 as deposit to start using it. It is true that from there you can contract premium accounts with much larger minimum deposits, even $5,000 in some cases. Even so, it is good to have evidence that ultimately the minimum amount to enter to start is less than €100. Types of investment and training. On the other hand, the investment options and different strategies and modes that Topoption provides are above some of its most direct rivals. It also has custom systems, such as the ability to see how various values are faced in order to check results and be able to practice. Along the same lines, the system it provides concentrates on the idea of educating investors through different tutorials. This is a very important advantage because of the possibilities offered to the investor on his way to get the most efficient results possible. At Topoption they know that having customers happy is basic so that they continue to trust the system in future occasions. Read full review. Topoption, 24 Option. For my taste, 24 Option is the top of the binary options brokers. There are some brokers who are masters in the midst, who perfectly dominate the concept of offering the customers the best support and also have conditions of service that are very much up to the requirements. In this group we can include 24option.com, which has managed to become known around the world as one of the best brokers specializing in binary options. Available operations. It has many of the advantages most characteristic of its rivals, such as the user-friendly interface, but also provides a series of additions to consider. For example, we consider 4 types of operation equally interesting. Some others. The first is a classic binary, which we imagine you know from top to bottom without any problem. These are the securities trades that we believe are going to stay above or below a certain level. It is the traditional method and in which many investors start and then, little by little, try other similar experiences. They also have the binary one touch, where the strategy of touching and not touching. not forgetting that they also have the short-term binaries in which the period of validity period ranges from a minimum of 30 seconds to a maximum of 5 minutes but not exceeding this figure. Other features. One of the characteristics that best result provided in 24option.com we can appreciate it in the excellent mobile version that they offer of its platform. It does not matter if we do not have a computer at hand, since the system is more than efficient so that we can have all our values and operations accessible from a safe and private place. The introduction of mobile devices has been prominent in recent years for this type of operation to grow significantly among all types of people. As a main benefit we can highlight that it is a broker of binary options regulated by the CYSEC, so it is totally safe and reliable. Note: investors can lose all the capital,